Just waiting for the stream to come on. Hopefully it'll be on soon. Here we go. Green lights are coming on. I think we're ready to rock. Yes, green lights are on. Green lights are on. This means that we are live. Hello, coders. Good morning. Welcome to 7:33. I'm a little bit late. I do apologize. 7:33 British summertime in this fine Thursday morning. 7:33 in the morning, and today we're going to be focusing on some of the find by routines that we need to use in this invoicing application. So we're going to be fiddling around with some more PHP and some more MySQL. And I created, if we go to the browser quickly, I created a bunch of sort of issues, bugs, if you will, things that I need to do. So we have create customer find one by, create status find one by, create customer find all by, status find all by, customer find all, and status find all. They follow a pattern, right? So we want to find one by something. We want to find all of them, regardless of whatever that we've supplied, and then we want to find one of them by something. Okay, we're going to be focusing on the customer and the status first, because they're the easiest ones to focus on. Invoice and invoice items, as I've mentioned before, they're more complicated, because not only are you finding those, but you also have to find the linked entities as well. So an invoice will have many invoice items, and an invoice will also have a status, and it might possibly have a customer. Well, it should do if you publish it. So that is what we're going to be focusing on: the find ones, the find alls, and the find one by blah blah blah. We'll probably work with the status first. I think that's probably the lightest one to work with. And then we'll move on to the customer and so forth. As we go, we're going to be doing a little bit of tidy up, a little bit of refactoring as well. So I'm just diving into the code here. I'm going to need to just grab the terminal window again, because I've lost that. So bear with me just a second. Window, restore default layout. Nope. Active tool. Restore Windows. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so we are in Git branch. We're in the master branch. So what I want to do is, I'm going to go back to the browser. Sorry, jumping around here. Let's do the status find all. This one here, number 64. We'll do that one first. Okay, so we're going to do git and then checkout -b. -b 64, I believe it is, and this is status find and then all. There we go. Okay, sweet. So we're going to, yep, that went through. We're going to fiddle around now with how these all work. Now, the first thing really is that we need to have a query builder to build the query, and then we need to run that query. So if we go to DB and go to query builder here, we're going to need something that will find all where isn't available. So let's first of all, let's build a failing test first that tests for that. So we go to the tests. It's a unit test that we want to deal with. It's the DB, and we're going to be fiddling with the query builder. This is pretty sort of like noddy stuff, I suppose, but it still needs to happen just in case I get things wrong. So this is query builder find all, find and then all. So query builder, we want to run find all. Passing in the table name, and the output should be select all from, and then there. That should be that. That should be the expected SQL that we get from that. Okay, so let's run this. It should fail if we do a think bash. I think control reverse search, go to the bash. There we go. So if we ran vendor bin run unit -g, and we put in this one here, that should be our first failing test. Yes, because findAll doesn't exist. So let's go and build that. So I'm just going to jump onto here, grab that, paste that in, and then do findAll. Passing in the table name, and then that is what we get. Okay, so I'm going to run that test. There we go. So we know that that works. That's good. So now we'll focus on the actual mechanics and the status to do this. So this again is going to be an integration test this time. So we're going to do an integration, and we're going to do it in the status entity. I want to tidy up this a little bit, and I will do so afterwards once I have this test fixed. So let's run that first. So this is findAll, statuses, findAll, statuses. Okay, so what do? We first of all, we need to save some statuses. So we create some statuses here. So let's do set name, and this is going to be test. We're going to do set internal name, and this is going to be capital test, capitalized. That's going to be the first one. We're also going to do another one, so this is going to be entity 1. Let's do entity 2. And we'll just do test. Let's do test 1, test 1, test 2, test 2. Okay, so then we save this. So we do saving found entity. We don't need to look for that. That's fine. We just do find. Sorry, what am I doing? That isn't what I need to do. Sorry. Beg your pardon. What's going on here? Yeah, that's what I need to do. Manager save, that's what I need to do. Okay, so we're going to do a manager save of entity 1. We're also going to do a manager save of entity 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do found entities, or results, even better, is equal to manager find all. Okay, so this doesn't exist, so this is going to fail. But what we were intending and doing is returning an array, and therefore what we can do is I'm just going to copy that for ease. We could do this assert is array, first of all, to make sure that that is an array. And what we could do as well, is we could do assert greater than 1, and this is the count of those results. Okay, so sorry, just kicked myself. Right. So what we're doing here is we're creating two entities, status, two statuses really, test 1 and test 2. Then we create the connection. This I can tidy up later. Then we save both of these entities. So therefore we have two records in the database at this point. And then what we do is we do a results find all, hoping that we're going to find all of them. Obviously that doesn't exist, so that's going to be failing. We check that we have the results, that is actually an array that's returned, and then we make sure that it is greater than one, that the results is actually greater than 1. I could just do is equal to and then have 2, and then that's the count, but let's just do that for now. Okay, so this is going to fail, obviously, so let's just run that, get the failing test. So I'm going to just spin up a couple of times to get to integration, -G, and then paste that in if I can. There we go. Okay, so that's failed because we can't find all. This is what we're going to build now. Okay, so we're going to go into this one here. This is in, where are we? We are in the manager. Oh, there's a lot of things that we can get rid of here. I will do that soon, don't you worry. Find one. These are all like remnants from find. These are they're all sort of relics from previous hacking of the code. Whoops, what's going on? Nope, this needs to be a public function. Public function, and I think PHP Storm's having a bit of a moment. Come on. There we go. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so we want to do results is equal to this repository find all, and this is find all, and that actually we should just return that. That should be, there we go. So these managers are turning into sort of like almost decorators in that sense. Excuse me. They're like sort of like handoffs, if you will, to the repositories, which is fine. It means that we can change the repositories if we wanted to without actually changing the managers, which is great. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is actually fill this in. So we're going to copy that. We're going to go into there. We're going to create public function find all. This is going to return an array. Whoops. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, yeah, so we do SQL is equal to query builder, find all, passing in the table name, which is status. Okay, then we need to actually go and run this thing. So we're going to just copy that. dbcon, where's dbcon? dbcon, this dbcon is connection. Come here. Whoops. There we go. And then this is going to be results. And then essentially what we need to do is for each results as result, we need to do this. So we're going to change that to be records for each records as record or as row. That makes sense. So okay, let's call this rows for each row, rows for each rows as row, passing in that. And what we want to do is return an array of results. So these results are going to be results is equal to that. And we need to do results. Boom. There we go. And we return the results. Okay. So fetch. Is that going to fetch one or is that going to fetch all? I can't remember. Fetch all. Okay. So that's going to return an array. And then if we go back to the manager itself, manager, where are you, managers? Status manager. That will return an array as well. Wonderful. Okay, so let's see if this does anything. Yes, it does. It finds them. That's all good. Woohoo! So I basically threw all that to the wall and it's stuck, which is great. So let me just do a quick recap because I do realize I just basically built that. So Okay, so we started with creating this findAll routine, right? So this is just return select all from table, right? So this is just a select everything from that specified table. Good. Next one is we created a manager here, and that manager just basically hands off to the repository saying, find everything, please. The repository is the thing that does all the work. This is kind of the engine room in this sense. What we do here is we start off with a blank array. We call that query builder findAll. That's going to generate the SQL. We make the connection. We do a prepare of the SQL. We then execute that SQL and we return all the rows based upon that query that we've just supplied. We then loop over each of the rows and then we hydrate each one of the of those rows to be a status entity. We then append or add, I should say, a new value into that empty results array here. Okay, so as this is going, these results are being built up. We then return the array of results. So that in the DB status entity test, what we've got here is all of the of those. So we have in here we have an array of results, and the array of results is going to be more than one. It's actually going to be two because we have two here. Okay, so let's see. I want to just tidy that up because that's a mess. I'm going to create a not public. Sorry, I'm going to create a. Let's push down. Yeah, I'll put it up the top here. Doesn't really matter, does it? Let's do a protected function. We're just going to call this get manager. And I'm just going to copy. Well, I tell you what, before I do any of this, that won't run. Let me just run all of the integration tests just to make sure that they all work before I hack around with them. And they are good. Okay, so let's now, I want to remove that. Okay, because all I want is the manager. I don't want anything else, So we're just going to do get manager, and then we're going to return a new manager. So this is going to be returning status manager. Whoa. There we go. Which means that I can now remove that code from here and there, and then do this. Well, I could do manager is equal to this. Whoops, this get manager. There we go. So I've pretty much just wrapped all those three instantiations into one, just to make the code a little bit more easier to read, because when we're having to faff around with the connection and everything, it gets a little bit cray. I just want to get that. Okay, so let's run all these tests again. Make sure that everything is wired up. They are, which is good. Okay, so that's cool. Let's just tidy up any of the code that needs to be tidied up. Okay, good. Okay. Run those again just for my own sanity. I'm sure it all works. Yep. So the next thing, that's the status. We are going to obviously commit this. So we're going to do exit. Then we're going to do git status. And we're going to just have a look at what we've got here. We've got a load of modified stuff. Fine. Let's do git add of src, all the things. There was also another one, wasn't there? Src and tests as well. All the things. Oops. Git status, just to make sure. I did just bash the keyboard there. Yep, they're all in. So let's do a git commit -m. And then this is adding status find all. Wonderful. Let's do a git pull request. Sorry, it's not a git, is it? It's a hub. I always get those two muddled. hub pull request, and we're going to do -p just to push that up. Off we go. Okay, let's insert, and then let's do this fixes, what was it, 64? Was that the branch? Yep, 64. 64. And then come out of Vim. Come on, push it up. Is it pushed up? Come on, there we go. It's working slower than I can think. So let's go to the browser. Boom. Pull request. All of these things. Merge the pull request. Confirm. In she goes. Delete the branch. Up to the issues again. Right, next one. We're going to focus on the same one, but this time we're going to do it for customer findAll. Okay. So this is 65. We're going to go to the code here, and let's do a git. Yeah, we need to do a git checkout of master. I need to alias these because these are these commands. Git checkout master. We're going to do a git pull. I need to do a sort of an alias where it does a checkout of master and then a pull. Does all of this in one. Okay, so what else? So yeah, okay, we do git git checkout -b. This is 65. This is customer find all. There we go, find all. Good. Good. Okay, with that done, I'm going to just grab a slip of my tea. Oh. Sufficiently brewed. Okay. Great. So we're going to do the same thing, but for the customer. So the customer status, here we go, customer entity test. So we don't have to worry about that pesky query builder because we've already built it. But what I will do actually is let's just go to the status entity and copy that. Where did that go? Where did that go? I'm looking for the get manager. Here we go. My optimization has moved it somewhere. So this is customer manager, not status manager. So this is customer repository, and this is obviously customer manager, yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, so let's fiddle with those. We know that. Let's just get into the thing first of all. Where are we? Branch. There we go. Bash, and then let's run the integrations again just to keep my sanity at bay. Before we do anything, let's just reformat these. So this is now manager is equal to this get manager. Thank you. Same with this one. Okay, good. Let's run those tests again just to make sure that they all are okay. They are good. So we need to now do a find all. So we're going to copy that. We're going to put this down here. This is a customer find all. Customer entity find all. Okay, so like we did before, we need to actually, create the customers. So we're going to do set first name. This is just going to be, come on, spell your own name correctly, Peter. Just, whatever. Obviously that's last name. And this one here is set company name. T O O O. Thank you. Right, that's the first one. Entity one, entity one. Come on, copy that. And then and then this is going to be manager save. Don't need that. Just need entity one. Wonderful. And then we create a new entity because we want to make sure that there's more than one. So we do entity 2, 2, 2, and 2. We're going to just call this foo bar, working at foo bar. Wonderful. And then we save the first entity, and then we save the second entity. And then, like, I'm just going to go over to the status entity tests. Like this one, we're just going to copy. Where are we? Here. Can you see that? Okay, so this doesn't exist, so this is going to fail. It's going to fall flat on its face. If we ran just specifically that test, -G, there we go. It's failed because we can't find the findAll. Same issue as we had before. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go into the manager, find one. We're just going to create a new one here called public function. Boom. And again, this is going to get some results. This is going to do this repository, find all. And we're just going to return that. That should return an array. Copy that, go into the repository, repository here. We've got the save routine here. I think what I could do just for ease is I could just copy off of the back of the status repository, couldn't I? It is pretty much doing the same thing, which in itself is a bad thing. Because when you write code, you should be, only doing one thing, right? You shouldn't be duplicating it. But for this, let's just marshal through, shall we? So customer repository, I'm just going to stick this here. If my magic mouse would not, it would stop having a bit of a fit. That'd be lovely. Change that to be customer, and then change that to be customer. Hydrator, there we go. Okay, so let's run that test, and that's passed. Awesome. Right. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff in terms of checking for SQL errors and other bits and pieces as well. I am aware of this. I will probably do something later, but I just want to push this through as fast as I possibly can. And we'll need to create some failing tests, so actually forcing this thing to actually fail to pick that up. So let's optimize all of those things. Hello CBL89. What an awesome name. You sound like an Android. Thank you very much for following. I do appreciate it. CBL89. We've got a capital CBL on that as well. So thank you very much for following. Totally interested in what you're up to. If you're a programmer, if you're a PHP developer or Python developer or whatever, if you're learning to code, if you've been coding for a long time, let me know. Put your thoughts down in the chat. Let's have a conversation. But thank you very much for following. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so this is all good. This is working quite well. One thing I've realized is that yes, we are returning all of them, but we're not actually checking whether they are all the right thing. So, as in, like, are they the right instance? That kind of thing. What we could do, excuse me, is we could do entity, or let's do found entity 1 is equal to, let's do results, and let's do result 1, 0, which is the first one in the index, sure. So that should now be, what are we, we're on customer, that should be a customer. Technically, that should be a customer. So what we could do is we could do this assert instance of, and then, so this is going to be the actual, and then this is the expected. This is going to be customer, and it's going to be : class. So we're asserting that this is the found entity 1 is a customer class. So let's just run that again. Hopefully, yep, that's gone through. So there, you know, this integration test, you can go quite far as to what it is that you're actually testing. Here we're just making sure that that is an array, but we really should delve into this stuff and find that. I mean, if we wanted to, we could actually look deeper into this, into the first entity here, and go, well, you know, do you have a first name called Peter? Do you have a last name called Fisher? You know, that kind of jazz. But I think that's enough for now. So I think. Also, what I'll do, just for my own sanity's sake, is let's put this as well in here, in the status test as well, just to be sure. It's always good to be sure. So found entity 1 at this point is the results, the very first result. Okay, I mean, I could, if I wanted to, I could just do results 0, 1 into here, but it's easier for me to read that. So we've got 12 assertions. That should be now 13, which it is. Awesome. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty much excuse me. That's pretty much where I wanted it to be with the whole findAll type jazz, which is cool. Obviously, with the invoice itself and the invoice item, it's going to be a little bit more complicated, because when you're hydrating an invoice, you're not only just hydrating the invoice, you're hydrating the linked tables with that, such as the invoice items, all of the invoice items, the customer, and the status. This is why I'm trying to focus on the status and the customer first, because they're the low-hanging fruit, and they will help me to build out the SQL as we've done with the query builder. Okay, I'm going to just commit this back to the repo, and then we'll have a little chin wag. So let's see. We come out of the container, come out of the Docker container, and we do a git branch, because I can't remember where I am. 65. Let's do a git. What am I doing? Git status. That's what I need to do. Let's have a look what I've done. I've done all of that stuff. Cool. This is all src and tests, so I can do git add src, all of the things, and tests, all of the things as well. And let's just make sure that they have actually been added. So git status again, which they have. They're all nice and yellow. Let's do a git commit -m. This is adding customer find and then all. Yep. We can now do a hub poll request -p. We can now create some more things. So this no, insert mode, please. Thank you. So this is so this fixes, is it, which one is it, which one does this fix? 65. This fixes 65, and adds instance check to status find all. Okay, so we're going to come out of that, right and quick, come out of Vim, bye-bye, push that all up. There she is, good. And then let's go to the browser, issues, not issues, pull requests. merge, confirm, delete branch. Okay, issues. Okay, so we've done, yeah, we've done those 2 issues today. That's pretty cool. Okay, I just want to, whilst I'm here, I just want to say on this one here, issue 47, I'm not able to run the app. I still can't reproduce this, so I'm going to close it tomorrow. So if I don't hear anything back about this, then I will close it. So this is like your final warning on that. But I will try it again. I will definitely try it again. What I did to try it again, I've actually put it down in the notes here. Is I removed the Docker machine, created a whole new one, spun up the containers, and I went straight into the bash container, or the web container as bash, and then I ran all the unit tests and they all passed. So that's kind of how I tested it. I deleted everything, brought it back to life like a phoenix out of the ashes, and then I was able to run it. I did have an issue a few weeks back now where there was a problem with my file system, my local host file system, and there was an issue with the Docker. It was the is it boot to Docker? I run an iMac, so on this is an iMac, so it was the file system issue with the Macs, the host machine, and the containers. But once I upgraded all my things, so I needed to upgrade things like Xcode and Docker itself, it all worked. So yeah. Okay, let's go back to the code here. I just need to do a little bit of tidy up. So we're going to do git checkout back of master here, and we're going to do a pull request just to bring myself back up to speed. And we're going to do a git branch because I need to see what branches I need to delete. So we're going to do git branch -d because we're going to delete 64. This is status find all. Whoops, find all, and 65 customer find all. Goodbye, good riddance. So there, that's now clean branch, and we are on the master, and it's updated. Awesome. Right, I'm just going to grab a slurp of my tea. So CBL89 has said that they're learning PHP again. Awesome. PHP is an awesome language. My last time coding was 2009. Sweet. What were you coding? What were you doing in 2009? What have you done since? Have you used other languages since then, or did you change your career? What was or what you were doing? Was this at school? Was this at university, or is it a boot camp thing? I'd be totally interested to know. I've got a load of courses, if you're interested, on YouTube for PHP. I'm a big PHP dev, as you can probably tell. PHP and Python, they're kind of my jazz at the moment, and JavaScript. So yeah, totally interested to know. I'm going to message you back, CBL89. And what I'll do as well is I'm going to I'll show you something, shall I? Let's go to the browser. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, let's go to, I'll put that back to the code. Let me just find something and then I'll show you. So stop playlists, that's what I want. No, shush. Is there a way I can do that without that being shown? Let me see. Quite possibly not, but whatever. This is we're just shooting the breeze here. So I'll just quickly go to the browser. So this is my YouTube channel, How to Code Well, and the latest one was the deployment, how to deploy Gatsby.js. I'll talk about that in just a second too. I'm also archiving all of these things. So this is the live coding PHP OOP project. I also do a podcast as well every Friday. But the thing I wanted to show you is down here. So we have a load of PHP tutorials. We also have, where are we? If I go to playlists, we also have full-length programming courses. So I have done a programming course before. If we click onto the view, come out of that. Stop. Good. Click onto that. And there we go. Bring it back to something. So I actually go into. I can go. I actually talk about PHP Object-Orientation, but I don't use any in this course. There isn't any sort of examples. We're not actually building an application. We're just talking about the fundamentals of PHP. So I think at this point I'm talking about inheritance. I can go. And other bits and pieces. So what I'll do is I'll put links to this, if you want, into the Twitch stream. If you're interested, do check this out, because there is an awful lot of content on my YouTube channel. Okay, there's also PHP strings and other things. So, yeah. Sorry, that was... yeah. So there we go. That's the link to that playlist. But the link to the actual the YouTube channel is your tool. You would think I'm a smoker with all my coughing. How to code? Well, I think that is the right thing. There we go. So how long have you been a PHP developer for? We are probably looking at coming close to 20 years as a developer. Ish, give or take 6 months or so. Yeah. I started before I actually went to school and university. I built my first ever application whilst I was at school, and I was just fiddling. Once I found out that you could do includes in PHP, and I was like, wow, I can actually include parts of the things. Then that was really the thing that took me. And then at university, I did other languages and college and stuff. How do I feel about WordPress? I think it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really good framework. I've used it before. I've built, so a little bit of brief history. Well, a bit of context. I'm a freelance developer now, so I do a lot of I have done a lot of WordPress work before. I do like it. It's good. It's from a customer's point of view, from someone who is actually creating the content. So not from a developer's point of view, from a customer's point of view, it does a lot of stuff, and it does a lot of stuff well. From a developer's point of view, it's a different way of working, right? It's a different way of building a PHP application. But in the past, I've built plugins for it. It's fine. This is coming from Mr. Demon Wolf. Thank you very much for the questions. This is awesome. You're coming through loads of questions. So nowadays, going to college is a waste of money, depending on what you want to do. Yeah, okay. A lot of stuff you can learn from Google. Yeah, well, you can, right? But you only learn it from that specific way. So I've excuse me, sorry, you've caught me by surprise with all these questions. I know PHP WordPress is a big thing. You almost have to. Yes.
So yeah, so if you're let's talk about that for a bit. So with freelance development, you there are things that you have to do that you don't necessarily want to do, right? So if you want to work with clients who are already familiar with WordPress, you have to work with WordPress, right? You can't just go, oh no, I'm not going to do WordPress because I don't like it, because you start making your net, your reach, when you cast that net out to the massive ocean of clients, you make that net far smaller. However, it's always good to be a niche, right? But when you're beginning in the freelance world, it's good to be working with the most popular stuff, I think. Your question about college, or your statement about college, saying that nowadays college is a waste of time and money depending on what you want to do. It really depends on what you want to do, I think, as you mentioned. On Friday, this Friday, tomorrow, in fact, I interview, or I have interviewed, so this will be published tomorrow, a PHP speaker by the name of Matt Brunt. We had a super awesome conversation. It's videoed, it's on the YouTube channel, and it will be on the podcast, so Spotify and iTunes and all this stuff. We went into some really good conversations about how he started out and the stuff that he did. He actually went to university where they had a sandwich. So for 1 year of the years of university, he actually did a work in the industry, which was awesome. Something that I never had the opportunity to do. I didn't realize that was available. But that was set up by the university. So I'm not sure I would say that going to university is a waste of time, because he came out of that with a skill that other people who've come from university wouldn't have, such as myself. So he was very sort of like desirable to future employers, who he was applying for, because he already had that year in industry. Plus, he had the degree as well to back up. So, yeah. Just go to Google and learn. Yeah, you need to know what it is that you want to learn, though. PHP and programming in general, web development is a humongous topic. So it's like when you peel back an onion, you don't really know what it is that's what the next layer is and what the next layer is. And sometimes you can find yourself going down a rabbit hole, and you don't necessarily need to. One of the biggest pieces of one of the best things that I discovered was being comfortable with knowing things that I don't know, right? So going, okay, this is an area of PHP, but I don't know it, and I'm comfortable not knowing it. I don't need to know it. I have no desire of knowing the actual internals of PHP at this stage of my career. There are many, many layers. And just thinking about just if you press refresh on the page, all of the things that happen in the background, just building that request, building the response, the whole network stuff behind it, the HTTP server, the status codes, everything. I don't think anybody can put their hand up and honestly say that they know every single thing in web development, because it's just so huge. It's so big. Everyone has a very different perspective, and everyone will have different experiences. So part of the challenge is knowing what to learn and what not to learn. And this is sometimes where people can get tripped up on. It's sort of like, I've spent too much time learning on this. I haven't actually spent time learning on the other thing. And that other thing is the thing that I should be focusing on. But I didn't realize it at the time. I just thought, I'll go down this rabbit hole, and now I'm stuck in this rut. Or I've pigeonholed myself too much. Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah, that's one. Yeah, that is, and that, yeah, I don't totally agree with you, Mr. Demon Wolf. That's the fun part of being a developer. It's always learning. So, one of the things that I really like about web development, and this is one thing that, it's such an exciting And the excitement of being a web developer has never dwindled in my many years of being a developer. It's such an organic thing. You get the people like Apple, the big companies, Apple, Google, and all sorts of that. They're changing the game all the time. They're changing how browsers work, how browsers render. They're changing the different operating systems on their tablets and devices, and this is changing and manipulating web development as we know it. The whole thing about Steve Jobs bringing in the iPhone was a massive game changer. Now we have the ability to write a mobile application using the same code that we do to write a website, and that blows my mind. If I thought I could do that right now 20 years ago, I would have laughed. I was like, no, they're totally different, two completely separate things. I mean, well, to be honest, that wasn't even available back then. I started writing code before I had a mobile phone, so yes, yeah, totally agree. Yes, definitely. It is definitely the fun part. Yeah. Although I haven't set this up yet, so links aren't actually going to work in the chat. So feel free to send me a DM on Twitter if you want. At How to Code Well. All the things are at How to Code Well. May I ask what you work on? What is your background of web development? Because I'm super interested in knowing what the community is doing. And it's not a contest. I'm just sort of interested as to what you're learning now, because if you are, I don't know, I certainly don't know your background, but there'll be developers who are pretty fresh right now, and I'm not saying you are, who will know languages and frameworks that I'm not even aware of because they have been out recently. Like if you're a JavaScript developer, there's a ton of JavaScript frameworks that I'm not aware of, or I am aware of but I've never used. So you're a backend developer, awesome, with Node.js, that's nice, and using WordPress to build clean websites. See, I don't know what Divi front-end builder is. Thank you for sending me a DM and followed. I'll pick that up after the stream. Thank you. Yeah, Node.js is something that I want to push on more. I want to learn more about. Node.js is very popular. I found it's very good. Yeah, and you're using WordPress to build clean sites. That's cool. Digging that. Are you using the latest WordPress? Is this the Gutenberg thing? Notify.me. Is that a website? Notify.me. I guess it is, I suppose, with a dot in there. Cool. I will check that out. Yep. Cool. I will check that out. Thank you. Thank you. So, I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the find one by, or either that or the find all bys, because I think, and then I'll see if I can do both the customer and the status at the same time, like I've done here. I think that's what I'll do. So that will be at 7:30 British summer time again, same time as it was today. I'll try and put an event in. But I think today's progress has been quite good. We managed to get a couple of things off the issues board. All the tests are working, I think, he says, without running them. Let's have a look. I'm just going to run these tests. So let's go back to where are we? The bash here. Okay, we're going to run all of the tests, all of the things, and I know that there are 2 failing tests as we've seen before, but there should only be 2. So we're going to run 15 acceptance tests. We're going to run however many of those, and I can't remember because that went really fast. So what did we do? We did 86 unit tests, 6 integration tests, 15 acceptance tests, and we have 2 failures. The failures are the issues with the 404 pages. Okay, so I'm aware of this. This needs to be when we come out of the database bits and pieces, we will be focusing on the view part of this project. So I've purposely left them failing for now, and I will be addressing them soon. So if anybody runs all of the tests and they check out this stuff, please don't at me and say, why isn't this working? Because I already know. I will just point you to this clip of the video. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool as it stands. Yeah. So Mr. Demon Wolf says, I hate tests. They are never green. Well, I've been trying to do test-driven development here. So I've been trying to write failing tests and then building the code and then running the tests to make them work. And, you know, I think, what are we at? 107 with 210 assertions and only 2 failures. So I think it's getting there. It's not perfect. I wouldn't like to have these 2 failing tests like live on the project for much longer, but I want to keep them there because they're kind of like a warning shot to me. Thank you very much for saying that. So, Mr. Demon Wolf, that's very nice of you to say that. Awesome. So, before I shoot off, I want to talk about something that, well, yesterday, if you saw the How to Code Well YouTube channel, I put out a video about deploying a Gatsby.js site. This is the site here. It is learnobject-orientatedphp.com. This is a website that I've created for this course, and I'll just briefly talk about this course. The course that I'm building is a object-oriented PHP course, obviously. It's not going to use any frameworks. It's not going to use any libraries apart from Codeception. This is what we're building and developing in these live streams, this invoicing application. So it's going to be teaching the object-oriented fundamentals, visibility scopes, objects versus classes, inheritance, and all the other good stuff. It is this stream, right? So it is the invoicing application using PHP and MySQL. It'll have a Docker environment. I'm trying to do this as much as I possibly can in TDD. It is live coded on Twitch, as you're watching, and obviously it's on GitHub. You can also go to the click on this button here, and you can actually go through the streams. So if you're watching this on learningobject-orientatedphp.com, send me a Twitter DM and say hello or something like that, because you know, this will be a sort of an inception type thing. But there's all 35, and there'll be obviously this one when this gets pushed to YouTube as well. So this is running on a Gatsby.js website. This website is completely live, learnobject-orientatedphp.com. I'll put that into the show notes down here. So this is well, let me just copy. That is the website. This website is hosted on Hostinger.com. And Hostinger are sponsoring the streams. And they sponsored that video yesterday on the How to Code Well YouTube channel. At the moment, they have a fantastic deal on. It's 82% off web hosting and a free domain. Now, this is for shared hosting, okay? But as I mentioned in the video yesterday, there is a 77% off VPSs if you went to hostinger.com/Peter Fisher. So you can either get one or the 2 deals. Plus, if you use the discount code Peter Fisher at checkout, you get a further 15% off, which is awesome. This website is running on a Hostinger VPS as we speak. So you can click on there and get the deal. Also, I want to mention that tomorrow we have a podcast on the howtocodewell.fm site, or if you're on the YouTube, you can pick it up there. And that will have Matt Brunt. We're talking about being a PHP speaker his speaking style, and we also talk as well at the start about his background and how he had that, as I mentioned, that sandwich year to get into the industry and what he's up to. And it was a fantastic, lovely interview. He's a fantastic fella. So do check that out. That's howtocodewell.fm. Awesome. Well, with that, thank you ever so much for joining. Thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone. And I will be seeing you again tomorrow at 7:30 British Summer Time. Thank you also. I'm going to just say, let's get back to the dashboard here. Thank you very much for Mr. Demon Wolf and CBL89 for following along. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I've got to go. I need to do some work for clients. Bye.